We'll show you how to write your own app, download it to the module, and prove it's talking to your host controller.
The application we're going to write will have two buttons that you can use to send messages to your host controller. It will have two text fields that can be used to display messages that come from your host controller. We'll start by making a copy of the empty project that comes with the samples you can download from our webpage. We'll rename this to First Project and then enter that folder. In there, we'll name the empty project.qml project file to First Project, and then, assuming you have Qt Creator installed already, just click on that and it will open Qt Creator. Mainview.qml is the main source file for this project, and by default it just has a rectangle the size of the screen we're going to use. We'll add a color spec to that and change it to a light blue. Once that's done, we'll switch to the design view and add our GUI items. You can see the rectangle, the size of the screen, the color we just input. In the library, scroll down to the text field and just drag one of those onto the screen. And we'll give this text IO example, and we'll change the font size to 30. Finally, we'll go ahead and center that in the screen. We'll add another text field, and we'll call this one temperature, and we'll change this font size to 23, and then align it with the first one. And then we'll drag in two more text boxes. We'll give the first one text of Celsius, and we'll change its size to 18. And we'll call the second one Fahrenheit. And we'll change its size to 18 also. Next, we'll add two text edit boxes that will contain the messages we receive from the host. We'll call the first one Celsius input, and we'll give it default text of a question mark, and we'll change its size to 18 to match the label. We'll call the second one Fahrenheit input, we'll give it default text of a question mark and change its size to 18 as well. Now we can grab all of these and line them up a little bit if we want. Next, in the library, we'll scroll down to the reach components and add an image button for our first button and another one for our second button. We'll call the first one button 1, and we'll give it a label of button 1. And then you'll notice that the label is too large for the button, so we'll simply resize the button to match, and then we'll resize the second button the same size. We'll call the second button button 2, and we'll give it a label of button 2. And then we can rearrange these a little bit more if we want. Whatever looks appropriate for your application. And that's it for adding the GUI items. So now we'll go back to edit mode. And you can see that Qt Creator has added all the code we need for that GUI. The first thing we have to do is go down to the text edit boxes and give them object names so the TIO agent can access them. We'll give the Celsius input a name of TC, and we'll give the Fahrenheit input a name of TF. Then we need to go to the image buttons and add actions for them when they're pressed. We're going to use button press. When a button's pressed, it'll call our method connection.sendMessage, and you give it a string. In this case, we'll just say b equals 1. So when a button is pressed, this will send the string b equals 1 to the host controller. And we'll add a similar action for button 2, except it will send b equals 2. So that's the design and the code for the GUI. At this point, you click File, Save All, and then you start G2Link. The first thing you have to do is select the COM port that's connected to the debug port of your display module. On my system, that's COM6. So you select the port and click Apply and Close. Now we'll click on Publish and Run and browse to the folder with our sources. And then click Select Folder, and then go. G2Link will delete the existing application and then download the sources for the new one. Once it's downloaded, G2Link will restart the display module, and you can see our application running. Next, we'll bring up a terminal emulator, and now when we press one of the buttons, we'll see a message in the terminal emulator that was output from the serial port on the display module into the serial port on the PC. Likewise, button 2 gives us b equals 2. And then if we type in the string tc.text equals and then give it a number as a string, you'll see that show up in the Celsius field on the display module. And tf.text and give it a different number, and you see that on the display module also.
And then if you have any questions or issues or suggestions, please feel free to contact tech support or give us a call.